Hello, Mr. Randy Duck, and welcome back for another video. Today I have a very special replay provided to me by Dark Ghost, whose YouTube channel I have linked in the description, so feel free to check that out. And this replay is disgusting. Honestly, it's a really special replay. He is playing the Tier 9 Swedish medium tank, the UDES 16, but he's playing it completely stock. So he has the stock gun here. And my lord, he goes on and has an absolutely crazy game. So it's definitely worth staying tuned to the end of this video, because the end of this replay, yeah, it was quite a sight to watch. So initially here, he's got to sort of standard position, just waiting for his friendly light tank who he's platooned with to spot and see if anything caresses that hill. And if they do, then he's going to be able to try and put some shots in here. So obviously the UDES 16 has some pretty good concealment values. So he's using this bush just to increase his concealment, and he's trying now getting a nice shot there on the cross on the enemy medium tank crossing there, and he's looking to try and get another shot in, see if he can shut that tank down. Sorry, the enemy tank destroyer, sorry, not medium tank, Scorpion G. And he starts this game off nicely with a couple pens of damage and a kill, and then getting a nice shot there into the grill. So he's just looking to see if he can squeeze in another shot if possible. Like I say, just it's a fairly standard position to use. But now he's decided, what, nothing else is really getting sort of spot or detected on the top of the hill. He's going to try and close the distance down so he can use that hill to his advantage to try and probably try and get shots on tanks which are on the right hand side of the map, which you can see are spotted, and it's a good position if you're able to get to that hill, especially if you're in something like the UDES 16, which obviously has good gun depression, with the fact that it has that automatic suspension to sort of increase its gun depression values. So as he's making this cross, he's seen an opportunity to get another shot in, potentially a kill. Doesn't manage to roll high enough for the kill, obviously with that small gun, but he does pick up another shot of damage, and then shortly after gets another shot of damage in there on the cross here. So he's going to use the sort of the bush's mechanics basically, shooting behind the bush to increase the concealment values, meaning it's less likely for him to get detected when he fires, and just trying to farm shots where he can, just looking for opportunities, just trying to stay patient. And so far he's had good luck at actually being able to, there's been a lot of targets sort of available, and he's been able to shoot pretty regularly, putting himself onto almost 3,000 damage and 1 kill. So he's had a very decent start to this game. But the game's, at this point in the game, they are up by a couple of tanks, and it kind of stays even throughout the majority of the game until right near the end when it gets a bit special. But right now, he's just looking to see if he can get shots onto this tank, which is caressing the hill on the top, because that tank's going to be potential to spot him in his UDES, which he doesn't really want to happen. But he's got to be careful that he doesn't overextend looking for a shot there, because there's other tanks, as you see, he gets targeted there, which potentially could have a shot in. So he pulls back to just try and lose that detection mark there, and again seeing if he can get a shot. But he's being patient there. He's not overextending to get a shot into that tank if he doesn't need to, just because it could, there's a few tank destroyers in this game. There could be tanks at the base looking for shots. So he's just trying to be a little bit careful and just buy his time here. But you can see at this stage of the game, it's still very even game. And he's just using this bush. He's sitting in the bush here to sort of increase his concealment values and just waiting for shots to try and happen. He knows there are tanks fighting. Our tanks down a sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 line on the other side, and he's just hoping he might be able to get a shot in. Because at this point, it looks like we're winning the other side, and obviously if they win that side, then the tanks are going to push through, and then more tanks are going to get detected. But he's seen an opportunity to get a shot in at E6. He's just trying to find out if there's any way he can squeeze a slivering of shots in, and he does manage to squeeze that shot in, picking up another penetration. Again, but now the shots are kind of slowed down for him. He does actually get a shot there. I think he actually shoots something blind there, because I don't think he actually pens that tank. Now he's going to look to try and get another shot in. He, the tank gets undetected, but he's able to put another shot in there blind to pick up another shot penetration there. Still fairly even, but we are starting to lose tanks on that side. He's able to get a shot there into that tank crossing, putting himself into 4,000. damage, and he's just waiting to see if he's going to get presented itself. There is a tank destroyer again on this ridge, just below him, but they're not quite cresting high enough to detect Dark at the moment, so he's able to still try and stay undetected while he looks for shots into his enemy Wheelie Boy. He does get a shot into the Wheelie Boy, but as the sort of Wheelie Boy tanks do, it just damages the wheel and unfortunately doesn't penetrate, but he might get another opportunity at it, and he does, which is potentially, does put this Wheelie Boy now, this light tank, onto a one-shot, and he's looking to see if he can try and get the finish, try and help out his friendly platoon mate in the light tank, but his friendly platoon mate in the ENR-90 does take out that light tank. And again, as I say, it's still, they're starting to go down on numbers, but 9 versus 11, that's still an even game. So it's still a very, very close game. He's just going to try and stay patient. He has been very patient on this one. He gets a nice shot into that Earthshaker, finally gets his opportunity to take him out, and he picks up another kill, confirming his second kill of the game. With 8 enemy tanks remaining, I think it's even Stevens on the scoreline. I say it's been a close game throughout, which is always nice when the games are close. But I think this is where it's going to start to sort of slide. This team are going to start to, he's going to start to go down on numbers shortly, which is going to make life very, very interesting. So again, there's no tank sort of near his base. He's got his friendly light tank trying to spot some targets, and he's just, being patient here, because like I said, the UDES, you can't be too aggressive in the UDES. He's just trying to use the good things about the tank, obviously the gun depression and the concealment. Obviously, bear in mind he is actually relatively stock at the moment. He's got the stock gun basically, and he's just waiting to see if we can get any more shots in. It looks like our friendly TDs are actually pushing round to try and fight the enemy tank destroyer on the bottom underneath this hill, but you've got to be careful because there's probably the enemy tank destroyers are obviously covering them, that tank destroyer, and this is where the team starts to sort of evaporate a little bit. It's now gone down to a 7 versus 4, and it does start to get a little bit worse. So you see this position here, he's been very, very patient, but it's paid off. He's got just shy of 5,000 damage. Another tank, unfortunately, his friendly platoon mate in the light tank did get taken out by an enemy tank destroyer there, putting him into a 3 versus 7 now. He knows there are tanks on this hill, and he's waiting to see if they're going to push around and get a shot. Now he's got put into a 2 versus 6. Enemy Murat makes its play now, and he's going to try and capitalise on the Murat being out in the open, trying to get some more shots in. He is on 5,000 damage, gets a second shot in there, and now he's going to try and, notice he's not going to over peak here to try and get a shot in the Murat. He's trying to lose his spot or try and leave. He wants to help out his friendly team, but he knows very well that his tank destroyers covering this Murat, and he doesn't want to make the same mistake as his other teammates who went out in the open there and get taken out. So he's going to try and get over into a safer area to help out his friendly Italian tank destroyer, who obviously I can imagine he wants to try and keep alive. Bear in mind it is a 2 versus 6 right now. Gets one shot into the Murat, putting him onto a one shot. He's on reload. He's just going to try and relocate slightly to avoid enemy fire while he's reloading, and now he's come off reload. He's able to pick up that kill, confirming the third kill of the game, putting him into a 2 versus 5. It looks like his Italian friendly tank destroyer on his team is going to go into the cap circle, which is probably going to draw back the enemy team to come back to defend the base, because obviously they are getting capped out right now. So Dark is actually going to try and move over and get into a different position to try and, I imagine, to try and cover his tank destroyer is probably what he's thinking right now. He wants to try and use this ridge on the enemy base, essentially, where he can get hull down, and as they try and approach to get any resets on the cap, he can get some shots in. His friendly tank destroyer has left the cap now, which, to be honest, sitting in the cap can be, you are kind of a sitting duck, because the enemy team do know where you are. But he gets gets fortunate now, because he spots an enemy chieftain in the base who is AFK, and he's able to farm the full health of his tank destroyer, but enemy heavy tank, sorry. But he does need to kill this tank quickly, because obviously this tank is going to keep him proxy spotted. His friendly his friendly teammate has now been destroyed, leaving him in a 1 versus 5, so he can actually get the Kolobanov here. He gets the kill on the AFK chieftain, and now it's into a 1 versus 4 situation. Thankfully, he is full health, and he's managed to keep all his hit points, which is going to come in very, very handy because he's in this situation. Two of the tanks, tier 8 tanks, are cresting the ridge. He wants to try and get damage in quickly before he's in a fighting 4 tanks all at once. So he's going to try and use his sort of gun depression here, activate the suspension to try and get some shots in. But he notices a 2-shot or potential 1-shot chieftain, so he goes for this to try and take out the enemy tanks. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to roll high enough to kill the chieftain, which is a shame, because obviously when you're in a 1 versus 4, you always want to fight, get rid of the lowest health hit points tank if you can, to try and get you into, even up the scores. So he gets another shot here into the Panzerjäger crossing. This is very awkward. He is surrounded. Tries to ram him to try and get a bit of increased damage, but he doesn't able to pull off. But he does squeeze in a shot into that UDES, finishing off the UDES. A chieftain's coming around who is a 1-shot, so he's looking to try and finish off his chieftain if possible. He does finish off the chieftain, putting him into a 1 versus 2. And now he's going to try and get out of dodge because he's kind of surrounded with 2 tanks facing him. He does a super jump there. Thankfully, doesn't take any full damage because that would be cruel. And now he's just trying to get away, so the tanks have to come into him. So he's got down into the low ground now. Now he's just trying in the guessing game which way are the enemy team going to come from. He's kind of tried to bait them. He's thinking it might come down this ridge. So that's obviously where he's thinking they're going to come from. He's hoping. I think one of the tanks was. I think both of the tanks. One of the tanks might have been a 1-shot. I think both, or they both might be 2 shots at this point. But he's had 9,400 damage, 6 kills. He's got the possible to get a Collies here and a stock UDES, as well as picking up the Radleys. He was able to pull this off. He's got 607 hit points left. He's going to go back up this ridge and see if he can try and detect him, because he doesn't want to wait there too long and allow them to come from 2 different angles. It is a 1-shot tank, sorry, the 1-shot enemy tank destroyer. He wasn't able to get a shot in. He's looking to see if he can finish off, finishing off that tank if he can. If he's able to do this, which he does without losing any damage, now he's got a real good opportunity to try and win this game. And he's picked up the 7th kill here. So he's pulling back in, gets 1 shot into enemy E6. Thankfully, that E6 bounces his shot. Now he knows the E6 cannot 1-shot him, and he's able to pick up the kill here and confirm that game. And an absolute mental game, picking up essentially 10,000 damage, getting the Collies and 8 kills, which is a humongous game, considering he's using a UDES 16, which is stock, and using that stock gun. I mean, the stock gun on the tank is, it's not bad, but yeah, that's a crazy game. So thank you, Dark, for giving me that replay to share. Like I say, I've linked this YouTube channel to the video, and as always, thank you so much for your support, and as always, happy tanking.